Hello everybody, welcome to the Tech Cave. My name is RJ. Right, today I'm going to do a tutorial, so sit down and relax and watch all this. If you want to put photo scenery into P3D or FX, so if you've had this for a while, if you wanted to know how to do it, or you've just purchased software or thinking about buying the software and you want photorealistic scenery, a la this. For free. So this isn't going to cost you anything if you no, it's not going to cost you anything really, other than the time it takes for you to download it. So it's going to cost you your time, and it can be quite time consuming, but it's really nice to be able to fly over your local airfield or fly over your house, and pretend you're actually flying over there for real. So anyway, let's just pause this here without further ado and get on with the show. So what are you going to need? Well, some kind soul some years back created a piece of software currently residing on this website, which I found it as a version 1.3, FS Earth Tile 1.3 official link. There we go. You can download it from these dudes. France they are, so this is translated. I'll put a link to this in the show notes below. So there you go, you download that. I'm only going to run through this quite quickly. We're going to go more into detail on doing masks, because this is where I really struggled. The running of the program for the tiles is fairly easy to understand once you've got it set up. So once you've downloaded that zip file, you'll open it up and it will so there we go. Its default file directory is called fset, and in there you will have a couple of directories, a boatload of files which you'll wonder what to do with. You'll have a scenery, docs, and area KML examples. For some reason, I don't know why, but it didn't have the add-on scenery or the work directory. You have to manually put that in yourself. So you just right click and create work and add-on scenery. And then when you go in the root directory, the first thing you've got to set up is FS Earth Tiles exe. That's the file you run, but you have to edit this ini file. So if you double click on this, open up in the text editor, associate it with text editor, or open up in text editor if you haven't already. And the thing you have to change is where it says services configuration. You can have up to 9. Service 1, Google Maps doesn't work anymore. Nobody can get this to work, I don't think. This one still does work. So when you get the default one, this has got sort of X's and zeros, and they won't fill this information in for you. You have to go off and find this information. Just go Google it. There are a few sites out there which tell you how to do it, I think. There are friends here. Yeah, they got it there. So you copy and paste this bit of information. Sometimes this changes the service coding, but if you just go and find the latest one, copy and paste that in. Do that. There are the little tweaks that you can do along the way, and you have to put in the working folder, which defaults to, I think, CFS work on that, but you can change that to D drive and put it in wherever you want it to be. So you just need to put that in there so it knows where to put the files, where to create the scenery files, and where it's going to get in the service, where it's going to get its information from. Okay, done that. Fairly straightforward. Read the readmes, it's going to show you to do that. Open this up, double click. Make this a little bit bigger, and it always defaults to this area, so we shall move over to where we're going to work to. And I am going to do my local area. So this is the middle of England there, that grey smudge there is Birmingham. Now from there we got this nice green area, that's the wire forest. Up from there is my airfield. Where's she gone? There. So I'm working on such a small screen, I can't see what I'm doing. So apologies for this short interlude. Can't find it. Where you gone? Oh yeah, there's the there. Haha, right. Down to business. So, what are we going to talk about here? Fairly easy. This is the zoom level we're at. This is the zoom level that you can download. It defaults at 1. So if we zoom in at level 1, reasonably high quality, and that's 1 equals 1 meter per pixel. And that's the resolution that you get almost if you have VFR real scenery from Just Flight, which is what I bought some years ago, which is okay, and it was good, and I enjoyed it at the time, but it's just not quite the resolution. It's not quite good enough, and it's also very washed out. The colours are just not great. So you can go resolution 1, you can go resolution 0, so we can move that down one more, but that nice and high res. And on Bing Maps you can go to -1, but you can see it does start just to get a bit pixely and grainy. So that is pretty much that picture zoomed in. You're not really gaining any resolution by going in much further than that. Other maps may vary. If you find a different service, you may get a higher resolution. So I stick with 0 around airfields. Further afield, moving out, you may want to go to res 1. Depends on how big a hard drive you've got, how fast a machine you've got to run this, but that works quite well for me. So let's get on with just doing this then. So to download this area, let's just do this one. Select draw, highlight the area that you want to download, and as you can see, because I've got area snap on, if I turn that off, it would only do exactly where I'm highlighting. And you can put the coordinates up here and the size and all the rest of it if you want, but if you snap to lot 13, which is what FSX uses as its reference points, you can get it to download just these tiles. Now the bigger area you go to, after a while it starts downloading 2 area counts, so that's going to create 2 files. So that'll be 1 bitmap there, 1 bitmap there. Obviously you don't want, and depends on how you move these around, sometimes they jump about in the way they see. That one there, it's done loads of little strips. That's 11. That's going to create 11 files to deal with. So you want to try and make it the best, kind of like the minimum amount of tiles as you possibly can. You can change this auto ref mode, and in the FAQ on there it tells you what this relates to, but I always tend to pick 3, and then look, see, it's jumped back there to 2. So if we make that a little bit smaller again, because I'm only going to do this a little bit, so I want to keep this quite small, so for hastiness and speediness of this little tutorial. The Earth service, so that was the Bing Maps or Virtual Earth that we put in the ini file. There it's selected. You can see Google Maps and all the other maps that are in there, but that's the one we're using at the moment. Screen compiler, FSX, LOD3, create mask, yes, and have we got any water on here? Because we want some water to look at, don't we? This is part of the reason for the tutorial. And we're going to want to go over here. But I don't want to download too much so it takes too much time. Okay, so we're going to just look at this little pond down here, so we don't need to download too much. Yeah, we don't want to fire. Okay, so and on the right here, it tells us how much space it's going to take up whilst we're temporarily working on these files. So that is 1 gig, yeah. So these are megabytes, 1,200 megabytes. That's not the BGL file that you're going to finish up with at the end. That's what it's going to need to create. So if we turn the mask off, so that suddenly dropped down because it's not creating an extra bitmap file to create the masks. There we go. So resolution 1, yeah. Use cache, yeah. We don't. If you put comp scenery on, it will create the BGL file, and won't do it. You know, won't. If you're doing the mask off, and comp scenery, it's just going to create your BGL file, and you're good to go. That's fine as long as you don't want to have any water. So if you're not in any coastal areas or you haven't got any water in your image, go for it. But most areas do have water, and you do want to see them, so you want to create the mask. Don't compile it. Okay, right. We've drawn an area. Let's go. Start. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I did press start, didn't I? Hey! And there we go. So it's downloading all these little JPEGs. So let's close that down. Yeah, black screen. Right. So let's go back to whilst that's doing that. So here we go. There's the Earth Tiles exe. One point to point out as well is that you need this file. This is the all-important file. If you don't have that file, this is not going to work. Now, this is the file that comes out of the SDK. Said that right, didn't I? SDK? Yeah. Developer's kit that comes with the gold edition of Flight Simulator X, which I have, or prepared. Well, you can just go and download it from Tinternet. So if you go to blah 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 P3D SDK. There you go. You can download it from the website. Now I don't know what their licensing is on that, whether it's because you have to own a copy to be able to use it. I don't know, but they've put the SDK in there anyway, so you can go and get it. But you must have that file. So if you haven't got the file, that's not going to work. All right. So and then you have to drag and drop that file out the SDK, blah blah blah, into there. So make sure that's in there. Otherwise, when you're creating your BGL files, they're not going to work. And we want those in the scenery. Is BGL files. Okay. No, want C drive. So fset, that's the standard directory, and there's the mask for creating the masks file. There's the Earth Tiles in there. We don't really bother about that, but you do need this, and you can create multiples of this. So you can drag a copy of that into the work folder and wherever else, and I'll show you a reason why to do that in a moment. So when this thing's finished doing what it's doing, where are we? FS Earth Tiles. It's still downloading area 1 of 1, and at the bottom here it says resampling texture. So yeah, it's still got a few to go. Right, and what it's going to do, it's going to put in some bitmap files into this work directory here, and if it was going to compile the scenery, it would put it into the anon scenery, FS Earth Tiles, scenery, and it would drop the BGL file into there. But I said no to compile, so it's not going to drop it in there. Right, go back to work. When it's finished, we're going to see some files opening up in here. Right, open up Photoshop. Now you can use GIMP, which is free, or if you have Photoshop like I have for doing photo editing, because I do a lot of photography stuff, you can use Photoshop, and that's what I'm going to use for this tutorial, because as I use it all the time, I find it easiest to use. You'll have to find your own way with whatever paint program you're using. So here we go, and it's created all these files. So there we go, 3. Now what it did create on here, and it doesn't give you the option to turn it on or off in here on the FS Earth Tiles, is it created a thing called a night map. So you've got the area LP0 because it was download resolution 0, LOD3 because it was area snap LOD3, and then coordinates. So that's our bitmap of this here. Then you've got an area mask one, which we'll look at in a minute, which is what it's going to create the water or exclusion zones from, and it's created another one which is for nighttime. I found these pretty useless. I don't know, if you want to create nighttime maps, it kind of creates this thing here that's supposed to be lights. I don't know, it just seems to randomly pick them. So if you don't want that, the way to get rid of it is if you go into FSET and then you go back into the ini file down here, way down here, somewhere down here, there's talks about something about creating a night map, and you just say no instead of yeah, and then it won't create all this these extra files here. So quite often these files are about 400 meg each. So each time you're creating an extra 400 meg that you just got to delete. So if you're doing a huge area, you can create a lot of files that you don't want. It will also create a thumbnail. I haven't really found much of a use for these, so I'll delete those as well. I'm sure you can probably stop it from doing that as well. And there's going to be these other INF info files and text files. Don't delete those, they're important. We're going to use those in a bit. So, using PaintShop Pro, we're going to open up the, let's open up, we'll open up the mask first. So just open up, not there, there you go. Oh, you nonce. I've just deleted the wrong thing. There we go. Hang on a second. I'll just reverse this. Right, there we go. I got it back. Stop laughing. Okay, we all make mistakes. Okay. So, well, if I'd have put that into icon mode, we'd have seen. Although I guess it could be confusing because these are all of the folders that I've left in here. This here is the standard picture that we're going to see in the Flight Simulator, and this is the mask. That's the night map, which is the one I'm meant to delete. Let's delete that now then. That's got rid of that. So let's open up this area mask. Double click. We can see here's the airfield here. And I've already highlighted some water features around the airfield here. Now, there's a file that you can get off the internet, which is a guide by a chap called Maurizio. I believe that's his name, and on there is this little chart of different colours that you can use in RGB, and it kind of tells you what it does. So you can use the pipette on this to select these different things. Now, so inland waters always use photoreal normally, which is this red colour here. So if we select that, you can see here it's selected the red, not quite a pure red, but slightly off. And if we go into here, go into the channels, we can see, if we look on just the red channel, we can see that's a light grey colour. And if we look on the blue channel, that's a dark grey channel colour. So that red there that he's chosen has got a slight mix between the blue and the red, and the mixture of those two give you the effect of water, but we're still being able to see the photograph through. So if it was on pure blue, yes, I'm sure, yeah, that's right. If it's on pure blue, it's going to completely get rid of the photoreal scenery with a water effect. If it's purely on red, you're only going to see the photograph, but you're not going to see any water, I believe. I think that's how it works. Anyway, so if you use this red sort of mixture, so you see a little bit of the both, you can see there. That's what it does. So anyway, if you grabbed all this here, you can screenshot it off this video if you like, and that kind of gives you the different things that it does. So go back into the image. So what you do is go around looking for water features around the area. If you drop the other image over the top, hang on a second. We go back in. So there's the actual image that we're going to see in FSX, and if we let's move that out of the way, we want to drag and drop that into this. So if we drag that over onto the top of there, so we can then see the image in layers. Let's move that back up so you can see it all. Turn the opacity down slightly so you can kind of see the behind it. Make sure you are selected on there. Zoom in, find your water features that you want to. I think I've kind of tagged most of them all in this little small area anyway. But I'll show you what I did. I just zoomed in to the area that you want. Use the magic wand tool, select your tolerance and then highlight it. selecting the area. You can mess around with the mask, but just to do this a bit quick and dirty, you just keep adding on. And then in Photoshop, I don't know about other programs like GIMP, but in Photoshop, redefine the edge, smooth it. So you're smoothing all these little ruffly bits on the outside here. Give it a bit of feathering. Okay it. And then you can then select back on the background, and then use the colour that you want, or go into the channel. Let's turn that back off. Into the channel, you can go into the individual channel, so like on that red channel, and you could select, so that's kind of there at the moment. So that's, so the more it's kind of more or less of what it's going to do of that effect. So you got the blend, all the water. So and then if we look at the water layer, that's a much darker colour, so that's down here somewhere, so that's going to give it more water effect. But you're going to lose some of the photograph, but not too much of the photograph, so it's going to be a bit darker by that, but you can still see the water effect on there. Okay, so there we go. So we've done that, and you can also use this to completely blend out bits, so like on the airfield here, with the add-on scenery that I had for the airfield, the runway strips were completely out by about 3 foot. So you can mask these off so the photoreal scenery doesn't come through on this section here if you wanted to do that. So okay, so you do that, edit it, close that down and save it. I'm not going to bother because I've already done it. Let's move that out of the way. Right, okay, then you take the area mask INF file there, you drag and you drop that onto there on the resample, and it will resample, yeah, and create your, and if you go into the add-on Earth Tiles scenery, it'll create this BGL file here. There we go, 85 meg. Once you're done with it, once you're happy with it and you've checked it, then you can go back and you can delete these files if you want to, or keep them for future if you think you're ever going to edit those again. So okay, right, let's check out what it looks like in P3D. So I've already done this and I've loaded it up into P3D, so let's fire it up, and so you can see there where's the kind of the standard texture, and then you can see where the photo texture is, and there's the little lake that we were talking about. That's just on final. For some reason I'm getting a little bit of locking up on P3D at the moment. I've just got to have a look at the settings on there. So if we go across, you can see, there we go. If I pause that now, you can see there we've got that water texture going on. Okay, but it's not pure water, as if we fly back in towards it. Come on. You should be able to see. If I'd have just filled this in black on the blue channel, this would be just almost a black lake or pond, whatever you want to call it. But you can see there it's still retaining something that was, I don't know, in the pond there, a duck maybe, I don't know. But you can still see it's retaining the image, although that is a bit darker than it originally was. But that's just the way it kind of goes. Still retaining that. So there we go, and you can go in and touch at the images as well. Obviously there's a cloud here which obviously doesn't look that very good, and on the one that I've done, I've photoshopped that cloud out because it doesn't look very realistic when there's clouds plastered to the ground. So there we go, that's creating photo scenery, and you can also see there that as we were talking about on the flying field, there's things that are not matching up there, so we can tidy those up later. So I'm going to do another video on slightly advanced masking using Google Earth, but this is going to go on forever otherwise, so I'm going to cut this video off here and then I should do another one. So kind of get to grips with this, just creating your tiles, creating the masks, having play around with the colours, and then the next one I'm going to do is going to be talking about creating masks. This is for more coastlines. The way that I've shown you how to do it here is great for inland, using Photoshop on the masks to pick out lakes and pick out rivers, because it's quicker to do it this way than it is by the next method. But the next method is really great for coastal areas. So hope you found this interesting, informative, useful, and if you've liked it, give us a like. If you've got any comments that can improve or help other people, anything you think I might have got slightly wrong, because I am kind of learning this as we go, and I've just been going around in circles for the last few weeks trying to figure all this stuff out, please leave a comment below. It'll help me out, it'll help everybody else out. Okay, thanks for watching. My name is RJ, this is the Tech Cave. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.